Have you ever wondered why you keep hurting yourself? Not by accident, but by choice. You walk into relationships you already know will break you. You chase goals that drain you. You silence your truth just to be loved and call it peace. You tell yourself it's bad luck, bad timing, bad people. But what if it's not them? What if it's you? Or more precisely, something inside you that keeps pulling you back into pain? Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And that's exactly what's happening to you. You are not cursed, you are conditioned. You are being guided by an invisible hand, your own unconscious, repeating old wounds, rehearsing old pain, trying to resolve what was never understood. Every self-destructive act is not a failure of willpower. It's a message from your psyche, a cry for integration. The pain you feel is not punishment, it's communication. It's the part of you you've abandoned, knocking at the door of your awareness, begging to be seen. In this video, we will dive into the psychology of self-sabotage through Jung's eyes and uncover why you keep hurting yourself, and more importantly, how to finally stop. You say you want peace, yet you keep walking toward what breaks you. You crave love, but choose those who cannot love you. You want success, but sabotage it the moment it's near. It feels as if something deep inside you is pulling invisible strings, rewriting your story into the same tragedy again and again. Carl Jung called this the repetition of the unconscious, the mind's attempt to heal itself through what it doesn't understand. He believed that the patterns we call bad luck are often the psyche's way of saying, "Look here, this is where you were wounded." When something in you remains unresolved, guilt, rejection, shame, your unconscious recreates it in endless forms, hoping one day you'll see it. That's why you meet the same kind of partner, face the same betrayals, and repeat the same emotional collapse. You think you're choosing freely, but really you're reenacting an ancient memory your soul refuses to forget. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is the cruel paradox. You are not cursed, only unaware. Your suffering isn't random, it's patterned. And every repetition is the psyche's desperate attempt to bring truth into light. Think of the woman who always falls for unavailable men. She tells herself she's unlucky in love, but deep down, she is drawn to the familiar pain of being unseen. The same feeling she had as a child when love meant chasing, not receiving. Each heartbreak is her unconscious trying to rewrite that story, to finally be chosen. But she cannot be chosen by another until she chooses herself. Or the man who ruins every success just before it arrives. He calls it laziness or fear of failure. But beneath that lies guilt, the inherited belief that becoming great means betraying those who never did. So every time life opens a door, he closes it, convincing himself he wasn't ready. He isn't avoiding failure, he's avoiding guilt. These are not coincidences, they are psychic loops, unresolved emotions repeating themselves in disguise. Your mind recreates what it couldn't control, hoping to master it now. But until awareness enters, the loop continues. Jung believed that what we call neurosis, anxiety, self-sabotage, endless inner conflict, is not madness, but communication. He said, neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. When you refuse to face the real pain, you create endless smaller ones to avoid it. That's why you chase distractions, alcohol, scrolling, work, validation, not to find joy, but to escape the silence that might expose what's underneath. Modern life rewards this escape. We glorify busyness, perform happiness, and numb discomfort with constant stimulation. But beneath the noise, the same wound whispers, "See me." The more you run from it, the louder it becomes, until it manifests as exhaustion, emptiness, or the quiet voice that asks, "Why do I keep doing this to myself?" The truth is, Self-destruction is not your enemy. It's a symptom, a sign that something within you longs to be acknowledged. You don't hurt yourself because you want to suffer. You hurt yourself because the parts of you that were never loved are still asking for your attention. The wound doesn't crave punishment, it craves recognition. You've spent years trying to control the outside world. People, outcomes, situations, thinking that would end the pain. But control is an illusion. The battlefield isn't out there. It's inside, between who you pretend to be and what you've refused to feel. Each time you suppress anger, it turns inward as guilt. Each time you silence truth, it becomes shame. Every unacknowledged emotion becomes a ghost, haunting your choices until you finally listen. The unconscious will stop tormenting you only when it succeeds in waking you. To break the cycle, you must stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as information. Ask not, how do I stop hurting? But what is this pain trying to teach me? Because what you feel is not random, it's direction. It's the soul's compass pointing toward what still needs to be healed. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your self-destructive patterns are not proof of your brokenness. They are invitations, coded messages from the unconscious asking you to turn inward instead of outward. The moment you do, something changes. The same situations that once controlled you start to lose their power. The people who triggered you no longer define you. The pain that once consumed you begins to transform, not into bliss, but into understanding. And in that understanding, a quiet kind of freedom is born. Because healing isn't about becoming perfect, it's about ending the war inside yourself. And every cycle of self-destruction, no matter how painful, is simply life trying to lead you there. What if the part of you that keeps ruining everything isn't trying to destroy you, but trying to get your attention? Jung called it the shadow, the hidden side of the psyche, made of everything you've rejected, denied, or been taught to hide. It's not evil, it's simply unloved. Every emotion you suppress, your anger, envy, fear, pride, desire, doesn't disappear. It moves underground, where it grows roots. And one day, it blooms through behavior you can't control. When you lash out without reason, when you sabotage what you love, when you feel an emotion that doesn't match the situation, that's your shadow speaking. It doesn't use words, it uses patterns. It speaks in the language of repetition. From the moment you were a child, you were trained to be acceptable. Don't be too loud, don't cry, don't be selfish, don't show anger. And little by little, you learned that love is conditional. You began to hide the parts of yourself that risked rejection, the sensitive one, the passionate one, the angry one, the real one. But the truth is, what you repress never dies. It waits in your dreams, in your projections, in the people who irritate you for reasons you can't explain. Because what you hate most in others is usually what you've refused to see in yourself. That's why you keep meeting the same personalities. The narcissist, the manipulator, the unavailable lover. You think you're cursed, but Jung would say they are mirrors. They're not here to punish you. They're here to show you the sides of you you've buried. The manipulative person mirrors your own hunger for control. The cold lover mirrors your fear of vulnerability. The critic mirrors your own self-judgment. You can hate them or you can see them. And seeing is the beginning of liberation. Jung wrote, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. This is the essence of shadow work, realizing that the world you experience is not outside you. It's the stage on which your unconscious performs, but facing your shadow isn't pleasant, it's terrifying. Because it means dismantling the image you've built to survive. It means admitting you're not only good, you're also cruel, vain, jealous, manipulative, fragile, human. The ego resists this truth because it's addicted to being the good person. That Why people prefer to stay broken. It's easier than seeing what's underneath their pain. Yet Jung warned, we cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. You can't heal by judging your darkness. You heal by understanding it. The shadow isn't a monster, it's your exiled self. And like all exiles, it only wants one thing: to come home. Every act of self-sabotage is the shadow knocking on the door. When you drink to forget, when you chase people who hurt you, when you overwork until you collapse, you're not punishing yourself. You're trying to feel alive again, because deep down numbness feels worse than pain, and the shadow would rather you hurt than stay asleep. That's why true healing is not about becoming light. It is about making peace with your darkness. It's realizing that you are both the hero and the villain of your own story, both the wound and the healer, both chaos and creation. When you stop running from your shadow, something miraculous happens. Your anger turns into clarity, your jealousy into inspiration, your fear into awareness. Because every negative emotion carries information. Anger tells you where your boundaries are. Fear tells you what matters. Sadness tells you what was lost. Even shame, that suffocating weight you keep carrying, tells you where you abandoned yourself. They are not your enemies. They are your teachers. But this transformation doesn't happen through denial. It happens through dialogue. You must learn to talk to your pain, literally. Ask it, what are you trying to show me? Write it down, sit with it, let it speak. Because the unconscious doesn't heal through logic, it heals through attention. In the silence that follows, you might realize something shocking. The part of you that you've hated the most has been protecting you all along. Your anger defended you when no one else did. Your numbness kept you alive when reality was unbearable. Your perfectionism was a desperate attempt to be loved. The shadow is not against you. It's the armor you built to survive. But now that you're safe, it's time to lay the armor down. Integrating your shadow means no longer living in extremes. It means allowing yourself to be human, to love and rage, to forgive and fail, to be both broken and divine. It's the collapse of the false self and the birth of authenticity. You won't wake up one morning and find your shadow gone. It doesn't disappear. It evolves. It becomes your ally. It gives you depth, creativity, power, the ability to stand in truth, not performance. The more you know your darkness, the less others can use it against you. That's real freedom. Jung called this process individuation, becoming whole. And wholeness is not perfection, it's integration. It is standing in the center of your being and saying, I am all of this, the light, the dark, the sinner, the saint, and I am still worthy of love. Because in the end, your shadow never wanted to ruin your life. It only wanted you to live all of it. Once you've met your shadow, there is no going back. You can try to forget what you saw, bury it again under noise and distraction, but it will always find a way to rise. Because the moment awareness touches darkness, something irreversible happens. You start to see that the real enemy was never the pain itself. It was your refusal to feel it. Integration begins when you stop trying to be good and start trying to be whole. When you stop chasing perfection and instead begin to assemble the pieces of yourself that you left behind. Every fear, every failure, every impulse you tried to silence, they were fragments of you, exiled by shame, and now, one by one, they return. This is not a comfortable process. It's not glamorous. It's not a self-love quote on a pastel background. Integration feels like dying, because in a way, it is. The you that was built on repression must collapse so the real you can emerge. Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. You cannot evolve without breaking the shell that once protected you. In the beginning, this feels chaotic. You'll feel torn between your old identity and the truth that's trying to surface. The ego will resist. It will whisper, Stay safe, stay small, stay the same. But the self, that deeper intelligence inside you, will keep calling. It speaks through dreams, intuition, synchronicities. It's the pull you feel toward authenticity, even when it terrifies you. Integration means learning to stand in that tension between light and shadow, comfort and truth. It's not about choosing one over the other, but allowing both to coexist, to feel anger without being consumed by it, to feel sadness without drowning, to feel desire without shame, because wholeness is not purity, it's balance. Most people never reach this point because they confuse comfort with peace. But real peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the ability to stay conscious in the middle of it. When you begin to integrate, life doesn't become easier. It becomes truer. And truth, though heavy, is the only weight that sets you free. Jung called this process individuation, the path of becoming who you truly are. Not the self shaped by culture, family, religion, or fear, but the self that existed before the world told you who to be. It's the journey of aligning your conscious personality with the vast intelligence of the unconscious, bringing light into dark corners and order into chaos. And this is why individuation feels like both liberation and loss. You lose the identity that once gave you safety, but gain something infinitely greater: inner coherence. You no longer need to perform goodness because authenticity becomes your morality. You no longer chase approval because you trust your own center. You no longer fear solitude because silence no longer means abandonment. It means presence. In Jungian psychology, the goal is not to eliminate the shadow, but to integrate it, to recognize it as part of the same totality. The same fire that once burned you can now warm you. The same instincts that once sabotaged you can now protect you. When you make peace with your inner opposites, you stop living in contradiction. You become undivided, and an undivided person cannot be manipulated. The world around you begins to respond differently. People sense the change, even if they can't name it. Your presence grows quieter, but stronger. You stop chasing and start attracting, not by magic, but by alignment. Because when you are no longer at war within, life no longer mirrors conflict back to you. This is the moment Jung referred to as the birth of the self, a consciousness that stands beyond victimhood, beyond control, beyond the childish demand that life should be easy. It is the point where suffering transforms into meaning, where pain stops being an enemy and becomes a guide. But this awakening comes with responsibility. When you become conscious, you lose the right to play blind. You can no longer blame others for your unhappiness. You can no longer pretend you don't know. Freedom is not comfort, it's a weight, and carrying it with awareness, that's the price of inner sovereignty. So what does integration look like in practice? It looks like telling the truth, even when your voice shakes. It looks like setting boundaries without guilt. It looks like forgiving yourself for being human. It's in the small, silent choices where you stop abandoning yourself. There will still be darkness. There will still be pain, but they will no longer control you. They'll walk beside you as companions, not captors. Because once you've faced your shadow and lived to tell the story, you realize something profound. You were never broken. You were simply divided, and now you are coming home. Awareness without practice is just philosophy. And philosophy, no matter how beautiful, means nothing if it doesn't change the way you live. Integration is not an idea. It's a daily discipline. It's not about healing once. It's about staying awake every day. So how do you begin to live this? How do you bring your shadow and your light into balance in the middle of ordinary life? 1. Start with observation, not judgment. Each time you feel triggered, anger, jealousy, shame, pause before reacting. Don't suppress it and don't justify it. Just watch it. Ask quietly, what part of me is speaking right now? This simple act turns the unconscious into the conscious. The moment you observe a reaction, you are no longer fully possessed by it. You create space, and in that space, healing begins. 2. Keep a shadow journal. Every night, write about the emotions you tried to hide during the day. Write what you couldn't say out loud, the truth that burned in your throat. It's not about being poetic, it's about being honest. Jung believed writing bridges the conscious and unconscious mind. It gives form to what has been buried. Over time, you'll notice patterns. Your shadow will start revealing itself through your own words. 3. Practice radical self-honesty. The shadow feeds on denial. Every time you lie to yourself, even about small things, it grows stronger. So when you're afraid, say it. When you're jealous, admit it. When you're wrong, own it. Honesty doesn't make you weak, it makes you whole. Because truth, even when painful, frees more energy than any illusion. 4. Create sacred solitude. Integration requires silence. Turn off the noise, the phone, the constant input, the endless opinions. Sit alone for 10 minutes a day. No music, no distraction, just breath. You'll begin to hear the whispers beneath the surface, the parts of you that have been waiting for your attention. This is where intuition grows. And intuition is the voice of the self. 5. Embody your awareness. Understanding the shadow intellectually is only half the work. The rest happens through action. Set boundaries. Say no when you mean no. Allow yourself to rest without guilt. These small acts of self-respect tell your unconscious, I'm safe now. I no longer need to destroy myself to be seen. This is how integration becomes lived experience, not a theory, but a rhythm. 6. Seek depth, not perfection. You will fall back into old patterns. You will forget. That's part of the process. The goal is not to never slip. It's to wake up faster each time you do. Remember, the unconscious is infinite. You're not here to conquer it, only to converse with it, to live in a relationship with what you once feared. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Integration is not about escaping darkness, but learning to walk with it, eyes open, heart steady. And the more you do, the less life feels like survival, and the more it begins to feel like the truth. There comes a moment after all the chaos when silence finally arrives. Not the silence of avoidance, but the silence of understanding. The war inside you quiets, not because you've won, but because you've stopped fighting. This is what freedom truly feels like. Not ecstasy, not perfection, just presence. A stillness that doesn't need explanation. For the first time, you look at your reflection and don't rush to fix it. You see the scars, and instead of shame, you feel recognition. Because every wound you've ever carried was never a punishment. It was a teacher. It led you back here, to yourself. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that is what this entire journey has been about. Not healing to become someone else, but remembering who you were before you forgot. Before you were told to be good instead of real. Before you learned to please instead of feel. Before you became a mask to survive a world that feared depth. Freedom in its purest form is self-knowledge. It's standing naked in front of your truth, without justification, without apology. It's realizing that no one outside you has the power to define your worth, because you've already met the one who does. The self. When you know yourself, you no longer need to chase meaning. You become it. You stop asking life to be easier, and instead, you become stronger. You stop trying to control others, and instead, you master your own reactions. You stop seeking validation because authenticity becomes your anchor. And yet the irony of awakening is that it makes you softer, not harder. The strong mind isn't the one that resists pain. It's the one that can hold it without collapsing. The awakened soul doesn't float above life. It walks deeper into it, aware, grounded, alive. You'll still feel anger, you'll still feel fear, you'll still feel grief, but now you'll understand that emotions are not enemies, they're messengers. They come and go, like weather across the vast sky of your awareness, and beneath them you remain, still, stable, infinite. This is where suffering transforms into wisdom, because when you stop identifying with your pain, it becomes insight. When you stop running from your shadow, it becomes creativity. When you stop fearing endings, life begins again. The freedom of knowing yourself is not about escaping pain. It's about ending your dependence on it. You no longer need chaos to feel alive. You no longer need approval to feel seen. You no longer need to chase love, because you've realized that love has always been within you, waiting for your permission to exist. Integration doesn't mean you'll never fall again. It means that when you fall, you'll know how to rise, not by pretending you're unbreakable, but by remembering that you never have to break in the same place twice. You learn to bend, not to shatter, to feel deeply without drowning, to walk alone without loneliness. And here lies the quiet beauty of it all. You begin to see others differently. The same patterns that once triggered you now awaken compassion. You realize everyone is fighting a battle with their own unconscious, just like you once did. And so, you stop judging, stop blaming, stop trying to fix. You simply understand. That's how true wisdom looks, not loud but kind. When you reach this point, you'll notice something almost sacred. You become dangerous in a peaceful way, unshakable, because nothing outside you has the power to manipulate what you've already met inside yourself. You are no longer reactive, you are aware, and awareness cannot be controlled. So if you've walked with me this far, if you've faced the shadow and made it back, remember this: freedom is not found in escaping who you are. It's found in embracing it, fully, fiercely, tenderly. The pain that once enslaved you has become your teacher. The fear that once ruled you has become your compass. And the love you kept searching for has finally come home, not as a person, not as a promise, but as a presence. Now, you are whole. Not because the darkness is gone, but because it's finally yours. You've integrated it, you've listened, you've awakened. And from this day forward, nothing and nobody will ever have the power to hurt you the same way again. Because you've learned the most sacred truth of all. What you have made conscious, you can no longer control.